Okay, here's the front drive shaft of a Disco 2 2001 4.0 V8. I just replaced my factory drive shaft with this heavy duty drive shaft. I have new Zerk fittings in all my U-joints and new grease and all that in the splines. New new nylon lock nuts. Factory studs, so I didn't have to take this flange off. All of my threading was okay, and it grips the lock nut just fine. On the front of the flange at the diff, I have new bolts and lock nuts. The bolts are 1.5 inch, and the spec on those are 3/8 by 24. The lock nuts are 3/8 by 24, and the gap between the stud and the differential are a little bit less than a quarter's width. I can almost squeeze that quarter in there. Hasn't shown any drivability issues. I just rolled it forward and rolled it back to see if I hear any grinding, and I don't, because the stud and the differential housing will never move closer to each other, so no drivability issue there. You can get a 1-inch bolt, which would end you about right there, roughly. Just AutoZone didn't have those at the time, and I needed to do this ASAP because I did not want to kill a transmission in the process. So got everything swapped out. Always use new lock nuts. The nylon in your old lock nuts are worn out and will no longer be usable. Everybody's going to comment about the exhaust wrapping I have. Have not noticed any drivability issue with it. I literally did it just to keep heat off the main components, like U-joints not. I understand it's exposed here and at the back of the catalytic. That's totally fine with me. That's a little bit harder of an area to wrap, and I didn't want to encase it like a mummy. I just wanted to knock it down 10, 20, 30 degrees, whatever it does. Not a huge difference, just trying to keep the grease in all these main component areas lasting as long as I can and keeping the temperatures down, because that's what we're fighting here is heat. So any amount of heat that I can drop in this Disco 2 I will, to a safe level. I won't go liquid nitrogen on stuff, but you know. But yep, just a new heavy duty drive shaft, and let me show you the factory one real quick. Alright, here's the factory shaft. Does not have Zerk fittings in the back. Does have a Zerk fitting on the slide splines and the front U-joint. If I can find it. Right there. And here are the specs of the hardware I used. Like I said, you can do a 1-inch. This is the 1.5 inch bolt. I got a pack of 8, and so I only needed 4. So I'm just going to go return these. But that's a nylon lock nut washers, or lock nuts. And so yeah, those are the 2 part numbers I used. If you'd like to use them, work just fine for me. These are a little close on the diff like you saw, but I see no problem with it being of that tight of tolerance. So, but yeah, here's all the old hardware, besides one nut that just dropped. And you'll notice you'll bugger them up getting them out. They are a 9/16 wrench and socket. You can get them off in the back with a socket. In the front I had to use 2 wrenches, box end wrenches. So yeah, just go ahead and replace as much of these hardware pieces as you can, especially the lock nuts. That's the main thing. As long as you don't damage the threading on your bolts, you should be okay to put them back, unless you've damaged the head like this one. Now I understand I could put this back, but being as that a pack of 4 of these are like $3–4, it makes more sense for me to just go ahead and replace everything and make sure everything is up to date and new as possible as I can get it. So yep, that's it.